We had two companies that had reciprocating weapons, just like the old machine guns, like the 50 caliber machine guns and so on. And then one GE came out with they made the 20 millimeter Gatling gun for the 105, and they bid a 30 millimeter for the 810. And
was that the one that you see like on the outside of helicopters?
yeah, now that's a 7.62 millimeter Gatling gun that fires 6,000 rounds a minute.
Wow.
So, and there they just hold the trigger down and go. They don't start. They don't let off on it because it doesn't have, much less explosive. It's far less effect on the aircraft.
Right. Well, 7.62 is not a large.
Yeah, that's very small, and so. But you spew 100 of those per second. That's a lot of firepower, especially if you're strafing troops, things like that.
So, and you worked on, I'm sorry, the 30
millimeter.
What did you do? I mean,
Oh, I was a project officer that, I was on the source selection committee to choose the. I worked with the companies that were manufacturing them if they had any questions or whatever, that they wanted a military response.
as far as
Targeting and what type of targets we were after and how we were going to use, all kinds of things like that they would work on to figure out what they needed for muzzle velocity and
to create the gun itself.
yeah.
Oh.
And then after that it was just that they were well into it. They might have questions that would come up, but their design was pretty well set. But then primary thing I did when I got in on it, I was only there for a year. They were in the source selection process, so I was on the source selection committee.
What is source selection? Who's going to be the manufacturer?
Yeah, who's going to be selected to make it?
Gotcha.
And that's made up of weapons experts, scientists, engineers, and weapons effects people and military people.
Uh-huh.
I was a military part.
Huh.
And the Gatling gun was by far superior to the others.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of
Well, just the
speed, barrel heating, that kind of stuff?
and just the the probability of failure was so much less with the Gatling gun
Gotcha.
because of the strain. The reciprocating cannons had a hell of a lot of stress on them, much more than the Gatling gun.
Interesting. And what's a reciprocating?
Well, it's just like an automatic weapon, or like a semi-automatic. You're pumping.
Well, you got a slide and a
Yeah, just slide you. And
Gotcha.
when you go automatic, all that's done is
Right.
automatically happen.
Fast.
So it's so when you're trying to fire a very high rate of speed,
Yeah.
that thing is moving like hell.
right. Whereas
But with the Gatling gun, it's just spinning.
right, and the
So-
bullet just ejects.
Uh,
You don't have a loading ejecting mechanism in that sense.
right. You just have it just ejects out.
Right. It just feeds sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's-
gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. It can't go anywhere else because